Hello and welcome back to another drawing time of INKroverts. For this video we are drawing an original artwork this time. What a surprise! Let's see if I make a fool of myself. So you can see the finished piece here for a few seconds. I named this one Reading Death, quote unquote reading death. Whether it's death who's reading or reading about death, you can have your own interpretation, because honestly, when I was in a hurry to name the artwork, the words that came to my mind were basically just death and read and possibly coffee, but coffee wouldn't make a very compelling title, so Reading Death it is. So at first I drew a sort of dark grey cloak for the skeleton, because I sort of like how the cloak drapes over a large wall or something like that, but if I do that, the artwork would look more like a graphic design rather than a painting. So after a few hours, maybe a few sessions more, I sort of decided that wasn't going to work, and so I discarded the idea. But here, let me just indulge that a bit little, and I sort of like the idea of the how I did the hood. For example, the top part is white, so you can't see it is blended with the white background, and you can see the inside of the cloak or the hood. But it's not going to last for long, unfortunately, and you can see me drawing skulls this time instead of any anime characters. I'm actually rather confident in drawing skulls because since a few months ago, or possibly a few years ago, I've been practicing human anatomy, drawing human anatomy, and to practice that, I have to borrow some artistic anatomy books from the library, and also some skeleton and muscle references on the internet. And in the process, I keep drawing it and keep drawing that, and I sort of get used to how the skull looked. At this stage, I didn't even use a reference picture when I draw the skull, but later I will use that for all the lighting and details. And you can see me trying to graphic design my way, and eventually failed. I actually thought about making it a sort of poster sort of thing. I actually have that in mind since the beginning, when I decided that I'm going to draw an original artwork. Poster sort of like thing, so that I can put it as either a poster or just the wallpaper for my phone. After the failed graphic design attempt, this is actually the next day, I had another idea about what to do with the background, and so I took some reference pictures from Pinterest, and this is how the sky I want to look like behind the skeleton. How do you call this? I like this sort of color scheme. What's it called? There is a name for it. It's pastel. Yes, it's called pastel. And so this pastel palette is made up of very soft colors, primarily very light blue, pink, and very light yellow, something like that. They sort of give a cute and warm feeling, which is a sort of big contrast to this skeleton. I don't know why, but I is the inspiration. I remember I recently finished reading the book Thief, and it was, I'm not going to spoil it, it was written in the perspective of death, and is a very attractive character. It's not like a sort of death that really likes people's human suffering and a sort of villainous skeleton and stuff like that, that death character is very appealing and very interesting, and so it got stuck in my mind. And here I'm not deliberately drawing the death from the book Thief, because if you read it, death in the book Thief doesn't have a skeleton outlook, but it is sort of inspired by that story. I think it is sort of influenced because he is reading a book here. And I added the coffee on his other hand because I love coffee, and I usually have to drink at least a cup of coffee every day. And this is basically the color scheme, and the composition is set. I'm just going over all the details and polishing up the artwork. Well, it's not exactly the polishing stage yet, but it's close. And as mentioned, you can see me using a skull reference image on the left. I didn't exactly follow the reference image per se, but I was worried I was gonna make some very huge mistakes, so this is just in case. And I'm also really proud of the idea that I put such a soft and warm tone against this very death-like character. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, in your perspective, if you look at this picture, you wouldn't see this skeleton character as menacing at all. Like, he's just like any other guy trying to enjoy his time with a good book and a cup of coffee. If you ever decide to write a story about that, I mean, I really want to read it. I mean, after reading something like The Book Thief, I would like to see death as interpreted as a really, for example, a nice guy. That's something that's go against our usual imagination of what death looks like or behaves. And it's this part I think you're going to see me struggle for a long while. I'm doing the glove for his hand, and I wasn't used to the texture at all, and so I keep making adjustments, because when I just drew his hand with no gloves at all, just skeleton, I felt like something is wrong there. Let me just put a glove on. And this is what I was attempting to do. But at the end, I think I changed the glove a little bit. So at the end it doesn't look like the leather glove as in the reference image on the left. But what do you call it? Those gloves where it covers only half of your fingers. Is there a name for that? I don't know what to call it. Sort of biker glove. It's getting better, but I'm still not very satisfied. I remember before when I was drawing anime characters and said that I wanted to keep the style when I was drawing anime for my future drawings, but here I seem to evolve into something else. It's not exactly the style I did in my previous videos, but I still enjoy it. I stand by the notion that I would minimize the use of line art as much as possible. And now I can safely say that we're at the polishing stage. I add some flying leaves as a final touch. Something of the sort. I feel like there must be something flying around to touch up the atmosphere. And I sort of offset the skeleton character's colours for a bit at the end, so it goes better with the background. And here he is. Here's the result, though that's pretty much all of it this time. See ya!